Look back, final score here on your Monday evening. It's supposed to be an awesome week outside. If you can't make it to the game on Saturday for the battle for the boot between East and Bartlett, check it out online at alaskasportschannel.com. We'll have the live stream of the game. Battle for the boot this Saturday. 7 o'clock, Anchorage Football Stadium. If you can't make it, it's supposed to be great weather. Or if you have friends and family outside of the state of Alaska that want to watch the game, just tell them to go to alaskasportschannel.com. There's a link at the top of the page where you can click on live stream and watch live coverage of Alaska high school football. We have you covered. And we also have our broadcast schedule posted online at alaskasportschannel.com. Man, that's going to be a great game. That's going to be a terrific game. I love rivalry games, not only at the NFL and college level. Probably more so, I love rivalry games at the college level than the NFL level. Just something about it. Two schools, you get two student bodies, huge student bodies who are cheering for their teams, the tradition, the pageantry, but then also at the high school level. The same thing. The rivalry games at the high school level, you have teams from across town, maybe even from, across the street, pretty much, getting together to play for a trophy. And then also getting together to remember a young man who lost his life. It's just something that's special about that. Something special about rivalry games, and I'm glad we're broadcasting that game this Saturday. 7 o'clock, Anchorage Football Stadium. If you can't make it, like I said, alaskasportschannel.com, and we'll also have a tape-delayed broadcast as well on our TV station, Alaska Sports Channel, GCI Cable Channel 19, Broadcast Channel 35. All right, let's jump into the NFL preseason. Already a couple of weeks in to the NFL preseason. And let's recap some scores from this past weekend. Bears and Jaguars. The Chicago Bears defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars by a point, 20-19. But I'll tell you what, Blake Bortles, the rookie quarterback who was drafted by the Jaguars with the 3rd overall pick, looking pretty impressive. 11-17, 160 yards, no touchdowns, but he took care of the ball. Took very good care of the ball, and he looked impressive. I don't think Blake Bortles is going to start the season. I think the Jaguars kind of let him mature a little bit, ride the bench, learn. I shouldn't say ride the bench, but don't start him. Chad Henne should be the starter for the Jacksonville Jaguars to start the year. But they lose by a point, 20-19. The Bears become 2-0 in the preseason. Games from Friday, the Patriots take down the Eagles in a high-scoring game, 42-35. The Saints defeat the Titans, 31-24. The Seahawks, wow. Seattle looking impressive, 41-14. This was a great game. The Raiders and Lions. The Raiders end up winning by the final score of 27-26. The Raiders actually scored with only a few seconds left on the clock. Matt McGloin with the game winner. Touchdown pass. He was 7 of 15, 114 yards in the game-winning touchdown. Darren McFadden, by the way, just for you fantasy owners out there, 8 carries, 27 yards, 1 touchdown. McFadden, a guy who's been off and on. Maybe you don't want to draft him in the early rounds. I know a lot of people in my fantasy leagues over the years have drafted Darren McFadden pretty high, and they've regretted it. Maybe you kind of draft him in the later rounds. But anyway, looked pretty good on his limited carries there against the Detroit Lions. Rams and Packers. The Packers take down the St. Louis Rams 21-7. The Giants take down the Colts by a point, 27-26. The Jets defeat the Bengals by the final score, 25-17. Cowboys lose to the Baltimore Ravens 37-30. First-team offense for the Dallas Cowboys looked pretty good. They were moving the ball. Tony Romo, in his first action since having back surgery, threw a touchdown pass to Des Bryant. Joe Flacco, by the way, was 9-17, 113 yards and 1 touchdown. The defense is lacking there in Dallas. That is the issue, and it has been the issue over the past couple of years to see if they can get that defense squared away. Steelers versus the Bills. Steelers defeat the Bills by the final score, 19-16. Buccaneers lose to the Dolphins, 20-14. Texans defeat the Falcons, 32-7. Cardinals lose to the Vikings, who become now 2-0 in the preseason, 30-28. How awesome has Teddy Bridgewater been? I know it's not the regular season yet, but Teddy Bridgewater here in the preseason. I mean, just look at his stats against the Cardinals. 16 of 20, 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. Teddy Bridgewater looking like he's going to be the clear-cut starter come week 1 for the Minnesota Vikings. And he should be. What do the Vikings have to lose right now? They have no reason not to start Teddy Bridgewater. and he should be the starter week 1. He's been very impressive in the preseason. The Niners opening their new home stadium with a 34-0 loss at Levi's Stadium, and the Carolina Panthers taking down the Kansas City Chiefs by the final score of 28-16. That's a recap of your NFL preseason scoreboard. Only a few more weeks, only 14 more days until the start of the college football season. Can you believe that? And I think only 3 more weeks till the start of the NFL regular season. Taking a look at the Major League Baseball scoreboard here, and then we'll jump into the wild card standings as we near playoff time for Major League Baseball. Baltimore defeats Cleveland by the final score of 4-1. Seattle defeats Detroit 8-1. Arizona loses to the Miami Marlins 10-3. The New York Mets lose to the Chicago Cubs 2-1. The Boston Red Sox lose to the Houston Astros 8-1. The New York Yankees defeat the Tampa Bay Rays in an American League East matchup 4-2. The Minnesota Twins defeat the Kansas City Royals defeat the Minnesota Twins 12-6. The Toronto Blue Jays lose to the Chicago White Sox 7-5. St. Louis wins by a run over the San Diego Padres 7-6. The Texas Rangers 3-2 over the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. A 5-2 victory for the San Francisco Giants over the Philadelphia Phillies. The Colorado Rockies win a high-scoring affair between the Cincinnati Reds and the Rockies 10-9. And a doubleheader, I should say. Colorado wins game 2 as well, 10-5 over Cincinnati. The Dodgers lose to the Milwaukee Brewers 7-2. The Brewers improved their record, by the way, to 70-55 overall on the season. In the final in 11 innings, the Pirates lose to the Washington Nationals, who have won 6 games in a row now, 6-5. And the Atlanta Braves, who have won 3 games in a row, give the loss to John Lester, his first loss as an Oakland A, 4-3. The Braves take down the Oakland A's. All right, let's take a look at these standings now for the wild card. And it's getting tight. Only a little less than a month, maybe a little over a month, till the end of the regular season from now. And the wild card races are heating up. I mean, just take a look at the division leaders. The Oakland A's and Los Angeles Angels are actually now tied for the division lead in the American League West. The A's have fallen off the pace a little bit from what they were playing earlier on, mid-season, July and June. In their last 10 games, they've gone 3-7, while the Angels have gone 5-5. The Kansas City Royals have been absolutely red hot. They've won 8 out of their last 10 games to actually overtake the Detroit Tigers in the American League Central. The Tigers are actually now outside of the wild card picture. They're half a game behind of the Seattle Mariners now in the wild card. The Mariners, the A's, and Angels are all tied, or the A's and Angels, I should say, are tied for that first wild card spot. In Seattle right now, if the season were to end today, would have that second wild card spot. That's how tight things are. The Yankees are 3.5 games back of a wild card spot. Take a look at the National League picture. The Washington Nationals, who have been on a 6-game winning streak, they've won 8 out of their last 10 as well. Milwaukee has won 7 out of their last 10, and the Dodgers have the National League West lead as of right now. St. Louis and San Francisco, the top 2 teams for the wild card spot. Atlanta on the outside looking in. They're a game and a half back of getting a wild card spot, as is Pittsburgh right now. Miami, 3.5 games back. It's going to be tight coming down the stretch. But what impresses me is how the Kansas City Royals have played. And I told you when the Major League Baseball season started with some crazy predictions, I think the Kansas City Royals will win a pennant. And right now they're in position to with the baseball that they've been playing, because Detroit has absolutely fallen off the map. The Detroit Tigers, who had everything going for them, they had pitching. Their pitching staff was phenomenal at the start of the year and in the middle of the season, and now they've fallen off. The offense was producing quite a few runs. And now the offense has wavered a little. I don't know if the trade cursed Detroit when they picked up David Price to add to their pitching staff. But ever since that trade, it hasn't been the same old Detroit Tigers. And I don't know why. If anything, on paper, that trade improved their pitching staff. They didn't lose a lot when they traded away Austin Jackson to the Seattle Mariners. That whole trade, by the way, was a 3-team deal with the Mariners, the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Detroit Tigers. But ever since that trade a month ago, has not been the same Detroit Tiger team. And you can see it in the standings and the way, that Kansas City has played. Kansas City winning 8 out of their last 10 games, while Detroit has lost. They've gone 3-7 in the same 10-game span. It's just crazy. I don't know how Detroit can fix it either. I mean, their pitching staff has been okay, but now they're not getting the run production. It just seems like either the pitching is on fire and the offense isn't there, or the offense is on fire and the pitching stinks. They can't get consistency right now. They have to find some sort of consistency because they're not going to be able to make it into the playoffs with the type of baseball that they're playing. And if they do make it into the playoffs for whatever reason, they're one and done. There's no way with the baseball that they're playing right now they can make it past the first round. Just saying. They got to find a way to pick it up. Anyway, that's a look at the Major League Baseball scoreboard and also the Major League Baseball wild card picture. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, take a look at Are You Kidding Me? And take a look at some other things in the sports headlines as well. You're tuned into Final Score here on GCI Cable Channel 19. Stay tuned.